Good morning, I'm Isaiah Jacob. The Reds dropped to the Nationals yesterday 8-2. Chase Burns went 5 innings, giving up 5 runs, while Eugenio Suarez hit Cincinnati's lone home run, a 2-run shot that accounted for both of the Reds' runs. They'll wrap up the series today at 12:15 with pregame coverage right here on The Fan beginning at 11:45. The Guardians also fell yesterday, losing to the White Sox 6-3. After 5 scoreless innings, Chicago broke through with 5 runs in the 6th, and Cleveland never found an answer. The Guardians and White Sox will meet again today at 2:10. Cleveland sits 3 games behind Chicago in the AL Central and is tied with Minnesota for second place. In the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame inducted its class of 2026 yesterday in Canton, honoring Drew Brees, Adam Vinatieri, Luke Kuechly, Larry Fitzgerald, and Roger Craig with gold jackets and bronze busts. Sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
This is the show that allows you to be the star. This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. Thanks for waking up early with Scotty and I. It is the Fan Call-In Show. I'm Ryan Baker. He is Scotty Vegas. And Scotty, I don't know if I've ever been more excited or fired up for a topic than one of the things we're going to talk about today. And obviously there's a ton to talk about. Ohio State fall camp started. You were there the past 3 days, so I'd like to hear some of your observations from that. We also want to talk about some of the top 5 storylines heading into college football this year that might not be Ohio State related. It could be Ohio State related, but maybe some things from around the national landscape of college football. And we can also talk about some Ohio State related storylines as well, especially as we get into those first 3 days of fall camp. But if you've been listening to the show, you know we've been doing our all Urban Meyer teams for Ohio State, our all Ryan Day teams, our all Jim Tressel teams. Well, today we're getting into the all John Cooper team. And I think sometimes we forget. Sometimes we don't give Coop enough credit for making Ohio State more of a national brand, because he kind of did that in recruiting. And some of the talent that Ohio State had come through the doors in the late 80s and the 90s was absolutely insane. And there's 3 or 4 position groups in this all Cooper team that you're not beating.
Yeah, it's been fun looking through, right? I mean, you're right. So John Cooper was here 13 years from 1988 through 2000 and had a ton of success. But we remember Cooper for that record against Michigan. We remember Cooper for not being able to get it done in the big bowl games, except for that 97 Rose Bowl. But that's kind of what Cooper is. I think the legacy of Cooper is that Michigan record and having 0 next to when it says national championships won, it's 0 for John Cooper. So that's what kind of everybody kind of thinks of the legacy of Cooper. However, you bring up the players and the talent that went through here in that decade plus that he was the head coach, it's outrageous.
It's amazing they struggled like they did in those games you talked about.
No doubt. And it'll match up, because what we ultimately wanted to do throughout the summer is obviously have the ultimate team from each of these coaches and then kind of stack it together of the all Cooper team, the all Tressel team, the all Day team, the all Urban Meyer team, and kind of see how it stacks up. And I'm telling you, looking at it, the all John Cooper team, and you mentioned it, there's multiple position rooms where you're like, oh gosh, this is unbeatable. Like, you look at the cornerbacks and you're going to say, well, the best era of Ohio State cornerbacks, as far as the 2 of the best of all time, played under John Cooper. So it's going to be a lot of fun to do this, and we're excited. We want to get your opinions out there. The number 614-821-9710. Maybe you won't agree with us on some of our picks as far as the all John Cooper team. We want to hear from you. And then you can also hit us up in the YouTube chat And so we will take submissions there as well. But, Ryan, this was a week where I feel like we can finally now turn and say the season is here, right? We got the camp underway on Thursday. I was out on campus for 20 hours over the last 3 days, had a blast. And I feel like now football season is finally officially here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there was any doubt that it was officially here, especially for Buckeye fans right now, for sure it is here. I was not able to be out at fall camp the past 3 days. Obviously, I was paying attention to everything that all of the beat writers and people were there saying on Twitter. You were there. I know you're working and sometimes you're far away from the action, but what were your takeaways from the last 3 days?
So the biggest takeaway that I had was just how incredible the Ohio State football program is at running everything and every single detail and the professionalism of everybody out there. It's absolutely amazing. So we ended up meeting 6 or 7 different players for players interviews. And I got to tell you, very, very personable players.
James Smith was awesome on Bishop and Friends.
So good. So good. But they were all awesome. Like, they were all awesome on air. They were all awesome off air. They were very nice, very courteous. And then you think back to, okay, Ryan Day. And what he gave his time. And Ross Bjork multiple times.
Yeah, a lot.
And the coordinators, Matt Patricia. You gotta love Matt Patricia.
Great.
Like, he is a guy who brings so much energy and so much positivity. It's incredible, and you can see why he has had and why his players absolutely love him, and why after games you see him going up and giving big hugs to players, and the huge smile that's on his face. And then you get to talk to Arthur Smith, and you listen to him, and you realize why his teams have the reputation of being that tough, hard-nosed, like just absolute slobber knocker offensive lines and running backs that want to run you over. And just every detail at Ohio State in the camp, and again, I was out there 20 hours, it goes from top to bottom, the professionalism and how well run Ohio State is. And I'm talking about all the way to, our great interactions with guys like the facilities manager, Don, and the IT guys and the SID, Will, and all of this. Everyone is so good and professional and so great at what they do. That's my biggest takeaway. I know there's a lot of things on the field that people are going to ask about, but be assured that Ohio State and the professionalism and how well things are handled over there is incredible.
I want to get back to Matt Patricia in a second, but Isaiah, you were out there a lot as well. What were your takeaways, observations from being at camp?
There was a lot of fun stuff that happened over the weekend, but a couple surprises for me, and they all came on the field. Me and Scotty, even yesterday, spent some time watching practice, and we had some time talking to Dave, too, who's obviously coming on the money here in a little bit. And one of the big things we were talking about was the wide receiver battle at camp. Because after Jeremiah Smith, Dave, Scott, and I all talked about how 2, 3, 4, 5 all felt really, really smashed together. I felt like coming into camp, Brandon Ennis was a runaway at the wide receiver 2 spot. But after these past 3 days, Brock Boyd, Chris Henry Jr., Devin McEwen had a huge day, especially day 2 of camp. Caught multiple long balls, looked really good. I feel like the battle for the 2, 3, 4 spot is really, really tight. And I felt like the separation that Brandon Ennis had last year has really tightened down with the addition of Chris Henry Jr. and Devin McEwen looked really, really good yesterday.
The other thing I wanted to say, and I'm so glad you brought that up because same thoughts out of me, but the other thing that I loved is after yesterday's practice, we got up close and personal, like maybe 5-6 yards from where all the wide receivers, once they were done with practice, they were all stretching. And you just get 5-6 yards away from Jeremiah Smith, and you are just absolutely in awe. And you realize why he's the best player in college football. Just the perfect perfect body for an incredible wide receiver. Like it is unbelievable. Even comparing him to all the all elite athletes that Ohio State has at wide receiver, he still just completely stands out just in the eye test. Just looking at him, watching him stretch and watching him command those other wide receivers, it's impressive. And that tells you exactly why he's the best player in college football.
It seemed like observations from people that were there, Devin McCune was really one of the 2 or 3 stars of those first 3 days of camp. And what you just said, Isaiah, with Brandon Inniss, that doesn't surprise me, and that's no knock on Brandon Inniss. And I know he's one of the leaders of this team, probably one of the favorites to wear the Block O. I have always believed Chris Henry Jr. was going to be wide receiver 2 on this team because of the investment Ohio State put into him. Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter are no longer here, so that tells you Ohio State wanted to make sure they went into Chris Henry Jr. business. And it's not just because of money that he's going to be number 2. I think physically and talent-wise, he's there. I think Devin McCune is going to take snaps away from Brandon Inniss this year, not Chris Henry Jr. I think Chris Henry Jr. is going to be Jeremiah Smith's Carnell Tate this year. So Devin McCune, to me, is going to be really chipping it away at Brandon Inniss's snaps in that number 3 guy. And I could be wrong, I'm one who thinks you're going to see a majority 3 wide receivers. I don't think we're going to see 6 wide receivers like we have in the past. I think it's going to be more like last year where these are our 3 guys. These are who we're going with the most.
So the other position group we got to bring up offensively is running back, because I think this was a huge story too. And when we're kind of standing around and then there's 40, 50 media members and you kind of get like the gauge of what everybody is kind of noticing and what everybody's talking about, Isaiah West and the offseason that he had and how he looked in those first couple days of camp, it looks like he might be running back 1.
His lower half looks stout.
It's incredible. And no knock on Bo Jackson, because I loved Bo Jackson last year. And you have to have 2 elite running backs.
That's the thing.
You do. If you're going to play 16 games to win a national championship, you have to have 2 studs. And coming in, we knew what Bo Jackson did last year and the production that he had. I think there was a question mark was, does Ohio State have 2 stud backs? And I think after seeing Isaiah West and what he did the first couple days of practice, I think Ohio State has 2 stud backs with a couple other behind them that are also going to be very good.
Yeah. And I think they probably put Isaiah West was with the 1s. And I think they put Bo Jackson with the 2s because I think they know what Bo Jackson can do. And I think they know they've got 2 really good guys and they want to get both of them a majority of the reps. One more thing, offensive line. First day, it was Ian Moore at left tackle. Austin Sareveld was at right guard. The last 2 days, it sounds like Sareveld was back at left tackle. Josh Padilla was in there at right guard, and Ian Moore where Philip Daniels were splitting time at right tackle. I know there's been a health issue with him, but I think Josh Padilla is one of the best 5, and I actually like Josh Padilla at that right guard spot. I know he's their backup center as well, but I don't know if it's going to be Ian Moore at right tackle or how they do this. I think Josh Padilla, if he's healthy, has to play.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up the offensive line, because I keep thinking about this offense and the weapons that this offense has is ridiculous. And what ultimately killed Ohio State's offense and hurt them in the big games at the end of last year was the offensive line. Right. It was a big problem against Indiana and against Miami where there were issues. And so I feel like it's fair that a lot of people have questions about the offensive line coming into this year based on how last year ended.
Yeah.
And I feel like the continuity of having just about your entire starting line back and adding depth, I'm not really concerned about the offensive line.
I'm not either.
I'm really not concerned. I know that how the season ended last year was frustrating with seeing Miami players in the backfield all game. but
Just get your best 5 and let's roll.
I feel like they're going to be fine. This offense to me, now I know last year's defense was the best defense. I think Ohio State's offense this year has a great chance to be the best offense in the country.
I agree with it too. Phil Steele said that as well, that Ohio State just might have the best offense in the country. Speaking of offensive line, the all John Cooper team, it might be the best in Ohio State history. We will get into that coming up next. 614-821-9710. We want to hear from you. More of the Fan Call-In Show on the other side of this break.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Delaware County Veteran Services, here for those who served. Located on the ground floor of the historic courthouse in downtown Delaware, our team of Veteran County Veteran Service officers is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Need a ride to a VA appointment? Facing a financial emergency? Are you or your spouse simply looking for answers? Then give Delaware County Veteran Services a call. 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment. Delaware County Veteran Services.
When your furnace or air conditioner stops working, you can always rely on Atlas Butler to get it up and running the same day. So why not depend on Atlas Butler for all your plumbing needs? Our expert plumbers can take care of anything from a clogged drain to a broken water heater. We work on all brands of water heaters and plumbing equipment. One call does it all.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
McDonald's is putting value back on the menu. Whether you're craving a Big Mac, McNuggets, or sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles, make it a meal and save. Your favorite is now your wallet's favorite, too. Extra value meals are back.
For a limited time, get an $8 Big Mac Extra Value Meal, complete with a medium Coke and medium fries. Promotion pricing may be lower than meal pricing. Price of participation may vary.
Common Man and Bob Capaccio here. So, Bob, you got this ring builder thing on your website.
Yep, you pick the diamond, the setting, customize your own engagement ring before you even come in this store.
I actually tried it.
You did?
It was ridiculously easy.
See, if Common Man can build a perfect ring online,
anybody can, because I'm dumb.
Then book an appointment and we'll help make it exactly the way you designed it.
That's why I always tell people, I know a guy. You too can design your own engagement ring with the ring builder at worthingtonjewelers.com. If I can do it, anyone can.
Worthington Jewelers, where Columbus gets engaged.
Getting a speeding ticket can ruin your day. But what about that cyclist or the pedestrian crossing the street? If you hit them while speeding, you'll do more than just ruin their days. That's why tickets are more than just a fine. They're a second chance. A reminder of what's on the line when you're behind the wheel. You won't get a do-over every time. So take this as your sign to follow the speed limit every drive. Speeding slows you down. Paid for by NHTSA.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be artists, prom dates, world travelers, and moms. We are Blood Cancer United, the world's leading organization focused solely on blood cancer research, support, and advocacy. We do the most for more people with blood cancer, so people with blood cancer can do more of whatever they want. Blood Cancer United. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
Nothing annoys me more than wasting time. Scotty Vegas here, and I want to be golfing or playing tennis or betting on people golfing and playing tennis. I hate waiting on an oil change, but that's all changed. Krieger Ford, the car buying experience was amazing. The service, just as good. I left my Bronco in the driveway and easily scheduled an oil change at KriegerFord.com, and they even came right to me and changed it. All game changer, the Krieger Ford experience. Experience that at KriegerFord.com.
Hey, it's Timmy Hall for Central Ohio's most trusted orthopedic practice, Orthopedic One. A couple years ago, I felt like I was breezing through life. I was tearing through rounds of golf, and it hit me. Excruciating hip pain. Hip that would not go away until I saw my friends at Orthopedic One. Then, bye-bye pain. So if you're dealing with constant pain or you suffered an injury, start with the specialist. Start at orthopedic1.com. There's no referral required, and there's several convenient locations in Central Ohio. Schedule your appointment at orthopedic1.com.
When it's time to replace your roof, siding, or gutters, trust matters. That's why homeowners across Central Ohio have voted Newman Roofing City Scene Magazine's best roofing company 5 years in a row. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
just one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We got a higher home appraisal after we put away our African art and family photos.
Has this happened to you because of race or national origin? Contact HUD at hud.gov/fair housing. A message from HUD and the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Join the fan weeknights at 6 for the Buckeye Show. And if you're asking if it's just a bunch of homers rooting for all things Ohio State, yes, it is. Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Lots of sunshine for your Sunday afternoon with highs right around 90 degrees. There'll be a nice breeze carrying us through the rest of the afternoon into the evening hours. Lots of sunshine today, not too many clouds out there, but tonight we do have a chance of seeing some isolated showers build overnight into Monday morning. We do have a chance of those becoming strong to severe. Rain chances continue Monday through Wednesday of next week. I'm your 10 Weather Impact meteorologist, Lily Aldrich with 97.1 The Fan.
Just when you thought afternoons couldn't get any dumber.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you?
Common Man and Tinny.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Your home for dumb. The Fan. Back to the show of the fans, by the fans, and for those crazy fans. This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
614-821-9710 is the number to call in. We're about to get into our all-time John Cooper team. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Also, maybe some of the top storylines heading into this year's college football season. Could be Buckeye related, could be other team related, because there is a lot of storylines heading into this year's college football season. But Scotty, this is we've talked about this a lot, and we've had a lot of fun. The all-time John Cooper team. There are a handful, well, maybe not a handful, but 3, maybe 4 positions here that I think are the best all time. Any coach's team, and I don't know if there's even an argument for it. So let's go ahead and get into it and start right at the top with quarterback.
Yeah, so I feel like there's maybe a small debate on quarterback between two guys. You can think about Bobby Hoying, and I think we're going to lean on going Joe Germain. And Joe Germain will always be one of my favorite. Again, I was born in 84. So when I really started falling in love with Ohio State football was 93, 94. That was kind of when I was 10 years old.
Bobby Hoying, that was like the first guy you really remember.
That 95 Ohio State team, where it was Bobby Hoying, Eddie George, Orlando Pace, Ricky Dudley, and go on and on. That was really the first team that I fell in love and watched every single play, and it was all in on it. And so I always will appreciate Bobby Hoying in that year. However, Joe Germain, what he did in leading Ohio State to a Rose Bowl win over Arizona State, that Rose Bowl will always be one of my favorite games of all time. Even though it didn't result in a national championship, it still was one of those games that, gosh, I can still remember Brent Musburger, Dick Vermeil on the call, and that last drive and the throw from Germain to Boston. So for me, quarterback of the John Cooper era, I think the one that I would go with, despite the fact that I was angry he had to split time with Stanley Jackson, I'm going Joe Germain.
I would lean Joe Germain, too. This was a 2-horse race for me with Germain and Hoying. And I think the thing that separated for me was the stats were pretty similar, even though Joe Germain split time with Stanley Jackson and I know Bobby Hoying's first year, he split some time with Brett Powers and whatnot, but he really had 2 years as the unquestioned starter. Joe Germain really had one, and it was that 98 season where the Michigan State loss. No doubt Ohio State was probably the best team in the country that year. They win the Sugar Bowl against Texas A&M. But it hurts me that it's those two. I couldn't get my guy Greg Fry in there, who, I love Greg, but I'm with you, Joe Germain. Also,
Kent Graham. Got to bring up Kent Graham.
Sneaky athlete, Joe Germain. I remember playing some basketball with him back in the day. He could dunk the basketball pretty easily. He was, I believe, 6'3", so he could get up pretty good. He was a sneaky good athlete, but maybe early on, maybe until Troy Smith, the best pure passer of the football that I remember at Ohio State.
Yeah, good call. And again, honorable mention, got to throw in Kent Graham. I'm glad you brought up Greg Fry. Definitely another one that we need to be talking about. Now, let's move to the running back position where it's very, 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 very easy. Again, we are only taking one running back.
Oh, we're just taking, I thought we took two running backs.
No, we're only taking one running back, and of course, it's Eddie George.
Yeah.
If we were taking two,
it's the best running back room ever.
Yeah.
At Ohio State with Robert Smith and Eddie George.
And I loved Robert Smith. I mostly saw him as a pro with the Minnesota Vikings. I loved the Vikings growing up because of Chris Carter and Robert Smith, and watching the long career of Robert Smith in the NFL. Yeah, if we were doing two, it absolutely. And then honorable mention, let's throw out Carlos Snow, Raymond Harris, Michael Wiley, another one. So those, but the running back is an easy answer. It's your Heisman Trophy winning Eddie George. Wide receiver. This one, we take two, and I almost wish that when we did this, going back and we were picking these teams, that we did three wide receivers originally, but we stuck to two.
So if we did three, this is easy.
Yeah. It is, because you and I have different on number two.
We do.
And I think the case could be made either way. So the three that are in question, Joey Galloway, Terry Glenn, and David Boston.
So I went Joey Galloway. I think David Boston, to me, and I know you disagree, I think David Boston is a lock for this because of the career he had. His numbers up there are huge at Ohio State. He was maybe I don't know. He might be the first Ohio State wide receiver that they really, really used a lot. And I understand Terry Glenn had that monster year.
He won the Biletnikoff.
I don't think they used Terry Glenn outside of that year very much. Joey Galloway's kind of the first one that broke it open to me. Like, hey, Ohio State can get some wide receivers. I know Chris Carter was there in the 80s, but then there was a little lull to Joey Galloway. Jeff Graham's probably screaming at me right now. But Joey Galloway was one of my first Buckeye football players that I loved. So to me, I've got Joey Galloway and I've got David Boston. I know you see it differently.
So I've got Galloway, and I went with Terry Glenn. I could see the argument 100% on David Boston because I love David Boston too. But I think winning the Biletnikoff and just thinking of that 95 season for Terry Glenn and how unbelievable it was, I ended up going Glenn over Boston. If it was like a career at Ohio State versus a single season, then I would obviously say David Boston. But that 95 season for Terry Glenn, I'm curious what the people think. I'm curious what the YouTube chat, what the callers think. Terry Glenn versus David Boston. And Isaiah, do you have a strong opinion either way? Terry Glenn, David Boston. I've got Glenn. He's got Boston.
I would say that Terry Glenn single. Obviously, I didn't get to see these people in person
before you were born.
Before my time, but Terry Glenn single season. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The numbers, but it's tough when you do a single season versus more of a career, and that's always an argument in every sport.
And that's what I kind of went is career over the single season. Now, I know Terry Glenn's numbers are right there, too, for his career. I just think it's those two. We'll come back to this because we'll let the people decide where we go there, because that's a tough one. I think the three are really easy, but if you're whittling it down to two, we have to take a quick 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we will get into the offensive line. That's next. It's the Fan Call-In Show, 614-821-9710 on the Fan.
At CEC Turf and Tractor, family means everything. That's why we're proud to welcome Green & Sons Equipment's Mount Sterling and Marysville locations to the CEC family. We're honored to carry on the relationships Green & Sons has built in these communities for generations while expanding our ability to serve you with more parts, more inventory, and faster response times. As one of Ohio's largest Kubota dealers, CEC Turf and Tractor is growing without losing sight of what matters most: hardworking people, trusted relationships, and hometown service. Visit CECTurfandTractor.com today for all your Kubota needs.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-791-0000. That's 800-791-0000.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
It all connects. The girl who walks for hours to bring home the family's water, the school she can't attend most days, her little brother's belly laugh, her dreams of being a teacher, an engineer, the mayor. It all connects. But at Child Fund, so do we, through everything we do, so every child can grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Because we need each other. Learn more at childfund.org.
T-Bone and Tybus are everything you want in a delicious breakfast. Lots of empty calories, no nutritional value.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. Ever want to be a radio star? Or at least hear your voice on the air? Perhaps embarrass all your relatives? This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
We've got some of you helping us out with the debate here on who the two receivers on the John Cooper team should be. Scotty and I both agreed on Joey Galloway. He has Terry Glenn. I have David Boston. Let's go out to those phone lines. Let's go to Gino. Gino, good morning, sir. Give us your opinion on the debate.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'll tell you what, it's got to be Terry Glenn. And I remember when we played Notre Dame, that wasn't a game, that was an event. And Terry Glenn ran across the middle, and he caught nobody catching him. And that place went freaking wild. So I love the end zone moonwalk for whatever you call it. For David Boston when we played Arizona State, that was pretty cool. And I love Joe Galloway when we played Penn State, and they had Joe Paterno at the time. It was the Snow Bowl. Remember, all the snow was coming down. I think Joey Galloway caught the catch, if I remember. But anyway, Terry Glenn, when he's pulling away from Notre Dame, was beautiful. So thanks for the call.
Thanks, Gino, for the call. And I do remember that Terry Glenn streaking through the middle of the field, and that was the first time you really knew his speed. So we've got a couple comments in the YouTube chat. Yep. Garen says Terry Glenn all day. $10 says Glenn Galloway. And then he disagrees with us at the quarterback position. He has Bobby Hoying. And then Scarlet Buckeye has leaving out Boston. Come on. I don't know if he's mad that you left him out or if he's saying he's leaving out Boston. I'm not sure which way Scarlet Buckeye's going there.
And there is no right and wrong answer on this one.
No.
It's so close. You brought up the NFL draft. Like, just kind of...
The NFL agrees with us, too.
Yes. So...
Terry Glenn was drafted 7th.
Yep.
Galloway and Boston both drafted 8th in the NFL draft.
How crazy is that? I mean, it's a coin flip, and I like that that Gino kind of went back to a specific play, because sometimes that's what you got to do is think of some of the most iconic moments in Ohio State football history. And Terry Glenn, and this happened while the OSU Notre Dame game was going on, and Regis was being interviewed on the sideline.
Yeah.
And Terry Glenn catches it and goes the distance, and it was a game changer. It really was. And the thing is, David Boston also has one of those iconic Ohio State memories by catching that ball in the end zone and then doing the little moonwalk against Arizona State. The other thing I remember about Terry Glenn, and again, he won the Blitnikoff that year, but there was a game at Minnesota where Terry Glenn made one of the most incredible and probably most underrated catches of all time. Yes. Where it was a dive.
That's Minnesota.
Yes.
Okay.
It was at midfield, and this was full extension, and he ends up landing on the turf. And if people remember the turf at the Metrodome back in the day, it looked like they were just playing on cement. It was like they were playing on cement, and there was a little teeny tiny bit of carpet that was the turf that year. But I remember him bouncing off. He made the full extension catch and then bouncing off that turf so high. That was another Terry Glenn moment. And to me, the tiebreaker, and I love both David Boston and Terry Glenn, the tiebreaker to me is that iconic play that Gino brought up, and then the tiebreaker is also the fact that he won the Blitnikoff in that 95 season. So that's why I'm going Terry Glenn over David Boston. But again, no right and wrong answer.
Well, so far we've got 2 votes for Glenn as well from the fans. 614-821-9710 is the number if you would like to weigh in. Let's move to the offensive, or no, let's move to tight end right now.
Where it's easy.
I don't think there's no debate. It's Ricky Dudley.
Ended up being a top 10 pick.
So let's move on to the offensive line. This might be the best offensive line group of any of these coaches that we've talked about. And there's no doubt it's the best tackle group. Like, we can put that to bed right now. It's Orlando Pace, maybe the greatest college football player of all time, and it's Corey Stringer. And I think some schools would have some hard time topping that, let alone these other Ohio State coaches.
People forget, and everybody remembers how amazing Orlando Pace is. I think people sometimes forget Corey Stringer and how good of a pro he was. I still remember, because I was a Vikings fan as a kid, I still remember watching Sports Center. I was in Myrtle Beach on summer vacation, and Corey Stringer had passed away. And it was one of those moments that I won't forget exactly where I was, because I loved Corey Stringer and how good he was and how massive he was. And so, yes, absolutely, Orlando Pace, Corey Stringer. What do you want to do at the guard position?
So I think, to me, so here's how I went with the interior of the offensive line, and I have 2 centers here.
I'm guessing Rob Murphy's in this.
So Rob Murphy was one of my guards. I put LaCharles Bentley, because he's at the end there. I put LaCharles Bentley at the center spot. And then another great center, I put Juan Porter at guard. So those are my 3 interior linemen.
I'm good with that. I love that offensive line.
It might be the best one.
Yes, and especially with the tackles. Could you imagine having Orlando Pace and Corey Stringer on the all team? I mean, that's
and Charles
ridiculous.
Bentley
And with Charles
on there
Bentley
as well, a Remington Award winner.
Yeah.
And if you remember, and we could flip those back, we could put Juan Porter at center and LaCharles Bentley at guard, because LaCharles Bentley played guard at first, maybe even behind Juan Porter. Maybe Juan Porter was still the center, and then Bentley played guard while he was there on the line. But that offensive line's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Absolutely. All right. So recapping the offense, and again, it's the all John Cooper team. Coached here 13 years, 88 through 2000. And the all Cooper team, we ended up going with, at quarterback, Joe Germain. We heard the arguments on Bobby Hoy, and we ended up with Joe Germain. Running back was easy. We ended up with Eddie George, Heisman Trophy winner, but mentioning Robert Smith and how great he was. At wide receiver, the debate continues. We have Joey Galloway in. We're debating back and forth on who's the second wide receiver, Terry Glenn or David Boston. The tight end position is Ricky Dudley, who was a top 10 pick. Your offensive line, you've got Corey Stringer, Orlando Pace, Juan Porter, Rob Murphy, and LaCharles Bentley. Let's go to the defense, because the defensive line is loaded as well.
Yeah, so the D-line, I think, to me, 3 of them played together. I think you have to have them. I think so this is how I went. I went my defensive ends. I went Mike Vrabel, and I went Matt Finkus. And my defensive tackles, I went Luke Fickell, and I went Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson. Now, there could be some debate in there, some like Alonzo Spellman.
That's
I know
where I was
the
gonna
defensive tackle is good. But I think those three of Finkus, Vrabel, and Fickle have to be on mine. And Dan Wilkinson was the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah. So Big Daddy is absolutely lock. I like your call on Vrabel and Finkus playing together on the ends. Spellman and Fickle, as far as defensive tackle, I think you could make the argument on both. Boy, I had Spellman, you had Fickle.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one I think we got to think about.
And I think the tandem of Fickle and Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson works because Fickle may be a little more athletic. Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson, that big run stopper. Spellman was athletic too, but he was a bigger guy as well. I don't know how you leave Luke off there.
Yeah, I know. Especially you think about the number of starts. He had 50 consecutive games as the kind of the defensive anchor for Ohio State. So it is hard to leave Luke Fickle off that list. All right, let's leave that debate. We've left the Terry Glenn, David Boston up for grabs.
Yep.
Let's leave the Spellman Fickle debate to continue.
Yeah, let's see
and
what the
move on
fans
to
have to
linebackers.
say at the YouTube chat, or the you can call in 614-821-9710. Linebackers, you could have 20 here. I think the one that is a lock is Andy Katzenmoyer, right? There's no
doubt.
way Andy Katzenmoyer's not on this team.
Butkus Award winner in '97, the Big Cat. Yes,
So-
he's our middle linebacker for the All Cooper team.
Go through the list here and some of the accolades of some of the other guys, because some of these guys that I left off, I can't believe.
So early '90s, Steve Tovar, right? Got to mention him. Greg Belisari. As you're getting more to the middle of the 90s. You got Ryan Miller.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Niall Diggs as you get to the later 90s. You had Joe Cooper. You had Matt Wilhelm. Matt Wilhelm kind of maybe directs more towards the all Tressel team.
I associate Wilhelm, I guess, with that Tressel team a little more, but
we used to work with Jerry Radzinski here at the Fan, too.
Great dude.
Love Jerry Radzinski. So there's a lot of guys. I had Niall Diggs because I thought he was a superstar when he was here, and then these were late in the Cooper years. But I loved Diggs, and I had Belisari.
So we are different on this.
Okay.
We obviously both have Katzenmoyer. I went Steve Tovar, and I went Lorenzo Styles.
Okay.
Because I think both of those guys were so good, and they weren't paired up like some of these other guys were paired up with great linebackers as well, and I feel like those guys kind of ran their own show a little bit. I don't know, again, if there's a wrong answer here. Those were the three I went with, though. Big Cat, Tovar, and Styles.
All right. I'm good with those three because the only thing that I was locked into was Katzenmoyer, and then I was open for the others. All right, cornerback. Let's talk about how ridiculous this is.
This is the offensive tackle, right? Like, there's no beating these two cornerbacks, I don't believe.
No.
Now, you can get close, like Denzel Ward and Marshawn Lattimore is close, but to me, these are the two best to ever do it at Ohio State.
Yep, Sean Springs and Antoine Winfield. Yep. Lock it in, 1-2. One thing that I was talking to you a little bit about, because this was an iconic play, too, because we looked up Tito Paul. He was a cornerback. And one of my favorite plays in Ohio State football history, and people won't remember, most people probably won't remember this, but there was a punt that for Michigan State, and this was mid-90s.
Derek Mason, long career in the pros.
That's right. And so right when the ball was caught, Tito Paul just blew him up, just destroyed him. It was one of the coolest, hardest hits I've ever seen in my life. I loved it so much. I was about 10 years old. What I did was I stacked, after seeing Tito Paul's hit, I stacked all of the couch cushions up, and I went full speed. I threw a little football at these couch cushions, and then I went full speed, all Tito Paul, right into these cushions and destroyed them and ripped out the stuffing and was yelling and screaming after. Ball goes flying the other way. Tito Paul, I mentioned him just because we're bringing up John Cooper in the that era in the cornerbacks, but gosh, that hit. Woo!
We will do our safeties. It's the last position we have to do. We will get into that coming up next. It's the Fan Call-In Show on the Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Need a roof you can count on? Ramos Roofing has protected homes and businesses throughout Ohio for almost 20 years. Whether it's a leaky roof, storm damage, new siding, or new gutters to protect your foundation, Ramos Roofing delivers quality materials, professional installation, and honest service every time. Get your free roof or exterior assessment today and ask about Ramos Roofing's no-interest financing options. Call 614-761-7663 or visit online at ramosroofingohio.com.
Hi, I'm Patty, founder of Awesome Tex. I started with a big idea to give old clothes a new life by turning them into recycled fibers and threads. Everyone told me that this was going to be impossible, but Chase for Business believed in me. They gave me a lot of guidance from the beginning.
Get financial guidance from bankers in the Columbus community and convenient digital tools all in one place. Learn more at chaseforbusiness.com. Make more of what's yours. Real customers compensated. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Every summer morning is different. Luckily, Tim Hortons has a breakfast wrap for every morning. Kick off your summer with the bold new steak and egg wrap. Start your morning fresh with the egg white and Swiss wrap. Or keep it classic with the grilled breakfast wrap. No matter what summer mood you're in, you can always find a wrap at Tim Hortons. Your morning happy place.
Wildlife around the globe needs help. And when you help protect them, you become a friend of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.
Thank you for being a friend.
Travel down the road and back again.
Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
Thank you for helping protect wildlife around the globe. Without you, there's no them. Learn more at sdzwa.org/friend.
When your furnace or air conditioner stops working, you can always rely on Atlas Butler to get it up and running the same day. So why not depend on Atlas Butler for all your plumbing needs? Our expert plumbers can take care of anything from a clogged drain to a broken water heater. We work on all brands of water heaters and plumbing equipment. One call does it all.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Delaware County Veterans Services, here for those who served. Located on the ground floor of the historic courthouse in downtown Delaware, our team of veteran county veteran service officers is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Need a ride to a VA appointment? Facing a financial emergency? Are you or your spouse simply looking for answers? Then give Delaware County Veterans Services a call. 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment. Delaware County Veterans Services.
When you first saw her, she was out walking her dog. You didn't notice her at first. But when you finally did, it was too late. Because at that moment, you were speeding. She was out walking her dog and only had a second to let go of the leash. Your foot was on the gas, and her life was on the line. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Everyone needs to take care of their mental health, even running back Bijan Robinson.
When I'm on the field and feeling the pressure, I usually just take a deep breath. When I'm just breathing and seeing what's in front of me, everything just slows down. It just makes me feel great before I run the play.
Just like Bijan, we all need a strong mental game on and off the field. Make a game plan for your mental health at loveyourmindplaybook.org.
Love your mind.
Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Have you ever met a man who wins money betting on tennis? Enter Scotty Vegas. Join Scotty and Dave Biddle for On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
Sunday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and $2 tall boys. All day, every day.
Your kids and spouse might not listen to you, but we will. This is the Fan Call-In Show.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Final segment of this week's Call-In Show, On the Money, coming up next with Dave and Scotty. So make sure you stick around for that. 614-821-9710 is the number. We've got time for one more call probably here. We have got to get to our safeties here. And this was one where I think there was a lot of debate. Again, I think there's one that's kind of a lock in Damon Moore. I think we both had him on our list. And then the other one is up for debate. I had Chico Nelson, which I didn't realize until this morning Chico Nelson had passed away. I had no clue about that. Very sad news hearing that. Chico Nelson was, you mentioned Tito Paul and the hit he had in the Michigan State game. Chico Nelson was the first hard-hitting defensive back I remember at Ohio State. Man, could he lay the lumber.
That's a good call, and I like Chico Nelson as well. I said Gary Berry, and I think
Gary Berry might have had one of the best Ohio State safety seasons ever, right up there with Malik Hooker.
Well, and the part of me also kind of is looking at where they were drafted, too. And so that was kind of a tiebreaker for me with Gary Berry. So I'm good with Chico, but I would probably... My pick was Gary Berry. I could go back.
Roger Harper's another one that I think deserves some mention there. He was a second-round pick in the NFL draft. He was a heck of a player for Ohio State. I think Damon Moore is a lock. I can be swayed a lot of ways on the other safety.
So we want to mention a couple other players that aren't going to be on our all John Cooper team, but we have to talk about them. One, Nikki Sualua.
So good.
Again.
And he should be. We should have a fullback on this team,
I know. We really should. We should actually have a third wide receiver, probably.
He was like a Rubik's Cube in the backfield.
And we should definitely have, under the Cooper era, a fullback. And Nikki Sualua was such a beast. I remember he was like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
And you know, speaking of as a kid, watching plays and players that you wanted to emulate, like Nikki Sualua just creating holes was something that was just really, really fun to watch. Hey, let's recap our all John Cooper team. And again, I can't believe this hour is almost over. Like, it has flown by so quickly. We talked a little bit about our observations from camp. I was out there for 20 hours over the last 3 days and talked to a lot of media members. And then also next hour on the Money, Dave Biddle, who has had like laser focus on a lot of different storylines on camp. So we're going to get more into Ohio State camp early next hour as well. But recapping the all John Cooper team. And I think there's debate on a lot of different positions. At quarterback, we went with Joe Germain. We went Joe Germain over Bobby Hoying. Running back, while recognizing how great Robert Smith is, that it was an easy one. It was
Heisman Trophy winner.
Heisman Trophy winning Eddie George, head coach of the Bowling Green Falcons this coming season. Wide receivers, we went back and forth on this one. We both
fans have spoken.
The fans have spoken. We've gone with Joey Galloway. And then the debate was Terry Glenn, David Boston. Where are we going, Ryan?
The fans have said it's Terry Glenn.
Yes.
Even my dad chimed in and said Terry Glenn.
Okay.
So
if Mr. Baker says
Galloway
Terry Glenn,
and Glenn, the G's out on the edge.
But David Boston, we love you. We love you. We love what you did in that Rose Bowl, especially.
And fighting Charles Woodson.
That too. I remember that Sports Illustrated cover
with those two,
where those two are fighting. Too bad that game didn't end up good, but that cover was awesome. Tight end Ricky Dudley,
no doubt about it.
Probably one of the easier ones to call.
Ninth pick in the draft.
Offensive line, And we were in love with this offensive line. It might be, if we were doing all coaches' teams and matching them up, the offensive line of John Cooper's probably wins against any other coach. Corey Stringer, Orlando Pace, Juan Porter, Rob Murphy, and LaCharles Bentley. Jeez, it's loaded. Defensive line. We went back and forth. We have Big Daddy, no question about that. We had Vrabel, we had Finkus, and then we were going back
I
on
went
Spellman
Fickle.
and Fickle.
You went Alonzo Spellman. I'm going to give this to you.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that because I've changed my mind. I want to go Fickle because of kind of career achievement and how good he was for the longevity. So give me Luke Fickle. Linebackers. We had Katzenmoyer. We ended up going to Lorenzo Styles. We were kind of looking up some NFL stuff.
Thank you for your sons, too, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's also a tiebreaker. And then you had Steve Tovar. I had Niall Diggs. Boy.
I loved.
I don't want to give up Diggs.
I understand. I love Tovar, but I convinced you into Styles, so we can go Niall Diggs if you want. It's just, how do you leave off Jerry Rudzinski? How do you leave off Ryan Miller?
I know.
How do you leave off Greg Belisari? Craig Powell was a first-round pick, but
so Niall Diggs.
So we'll go Diggs. We'll give us. Tovar, Katzenmoyer, and Styles. Not that they couldn't play other spots, but they were all middle linebackers. Niall Diggs gives us a little
All-American
more speed on the edge.
Yeah. All right. So Diggs it is. Cornerbacks, very easy. Sean Springs, Antoine Winfield, and then the safeties, Damon Moore and Gary Berry.
So we're going to compare all these teams at some point from our coaches' era. I don't believe there's an argument that the Cooper era has the best offensive line. There's, to me, definitely not an argument that the Cooper era doesn't have the best cornerbacks. And if you went two running backs, now there could be an argument now that we're just taking one. If you went two running backs, there's no argument to me that that's the best running back with Eddie George and Robert Smith. And it just, gosh, the Michigan record and the bowl game record. But John Cooper, it was really a major moment when he came to Ohio State because he changed the game as far as recruiting to the Ohio State program.
No doubt about it. And when we're comparing Ryan Day and a John Cooper, let's remember, too, Cooper's got 4 or 5 years more of players and guys to choose from in that era. But you're right, that Cooper era of 13 years, like when you go through it and put a team together, it's really impressive.
This was a fun hour. I can't wait to compare these teams when we get there. I also can't wait to hear On the Money. I can't wait to hear Dave's thoughts on our all-Cooper team, and I can't wait to hear his thoughts on the first 3 days of Ohio State camp, so keep it locked right here on The Fan. Thank you, everybody, for waking up early and joining us on The Fan Call-In Show.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to